So let's get off of electoralism. I wanted to talk to you about this. Well, first of all, before we go there, though, I do want to. So, what do you think's going to be next for you? Do you think you mentioned you might want to run again at some point? First of all, condolences regarding the cat. I know we
Thank
talked about that
you.
off mic, but again, condolences.
Thank you.
That's rough. That's very. Oh, geez, yeah. That's
Yeah.
hard. And have you considered, if you want to stay in electoralism, have you considered local? What about like a Lauren on city council or a Mayor Ashcraft even?
Definitely not mayor for a lot. Like New York City mayor is an even bigger race than Congress.
No, I know. No. I know that. I mean, if you lived in a different place, that might be a
Yeah.
more attainable thing. But yeah, New York City mayor,
Yeah.
it's and there's really a who of assholes that
Yeah.
I mean, geez, there's quite a crop of like, wow, yeah, like true
Yeah.
plankton that just
Yeah.
Bloomberg, baby.
You have some
Giuliani.
you have some small shoes to fill. Um Low bar.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's been real interesting. I would definitely run for another office. I would definitely run for Congress again too. I think just deciding like which one when I feel like I'm like strong enough to do it again. Like when I think people don't think about the financial aspect of it is if you're like a working class person like I am, when am I gonna feel like I can quit another job that I don't have right now? You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's like there's a lot that will go into that decision, and like it's rough. It's really rough. And there was two really wealthy candidates in my race that have poured hundreds of thousands of dollars into their campaigns twice in a row now. And I just don't have that luxury. So it is frustrating for me to see like that's how democracy works in the United States right now.
Yeah.
I see like New York City Council races. Maybe I would run for New York City Council someday. It would certainly be a lot more practical. There's a matching program.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's your if you get a donation from New York City residents, it's matched 8-1 by New York City funds. So that's something I didn't have in my congressional run. We raised every single dollar. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely options down the road. I am trying to put my put my oxygen mask on before
Oh, of
thinking
course.
about other oxygen masks.
Oh no, I hear you. That's yeah, absolutely. And that's how they tell you to do it on the airplanes.
Yep.
Um, but I think you know the reason I bring up local is for first of all, I'm a big local politics advocate. I think that more people need to explore those avenues. And here in LA, Nithya Raman is going to get on the city council. She won, which was huge. She beat the establishment candidate who had an endorsement from Hillary Clinton. She won. So now we have a Shama Zawant style local politician in city council. So now you got someone up in Seattle, you got someone down in LA. It'd be really cool to see New York kind of start to get that style of politics infiltrate their city council. Because I mean, if every city council in the country had a Samajawant style politician, that would change the country. It really would.
Totally.
And that's
Yeah.
attainable. Like that's not an impossible feat. And I try to look at it this way, and we're going to go to some of your other activities outside of electoralism here in just a second. But you know, when I really kind of took a step back amidst the frustrations of it all, I'm like, look, my activities on Monday of this week were going to be the same regardless of what happened with any of the electoral races. My plan, because I actually just moved to a different part of town here in the Los Angeles area, my plan was to attend a neighborhood council meeting and make the case for municipal broadband. And I was going to do that no matter what happened in any race, no matter what happened with any proposition. That was on my to-do list, and I did it. I showed up to that Zoom meeting, and I made the case for municipal broadband. I wasn't successful in that plight in the last place I lived in Pasadena. Local government was not very receptive to it. I'm going to try again here, and I'm going to see what happens. I will say, Lauren, that it started off better than it started off the last time, because when I brought it up, every council member knew what it was. So
Yes,
I didn't
that's
have that the first
awesome.
time, but everybody knew what it was.
I really love
So
it.
so I'm starting off better. And you do community gardening. Look at this amazing pin tweet you have. We did it. We built the community garden for Queensbridge houses. Thank you to everyone who donated, signed our petition, showed up for volunteer, drove people or plants to the site. This garden belongs to us. You did a community garden. Here, let's look at these
Yeah.
photos. Let's look at these. So there's your garden.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's your crew.
Yep.
Where I don't see you in this picture. Where are you?
Oh,
Are you
I'm
in
right
that pic?
in the
Are you
middle.
taking it? Where are
Yeah,
you
no,
at?
I'm in the middle back next to the
There you
tall
are.
guy.
That's you, right? Right? Oh, you
Yeah.
can't. Yeah. All right. Here, I'll do it with the mouth. That's you.
There
Is
it
that
is.
you?
That's me.
That's you.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I got it. And then there's you. Is this your
Yeah. My
Sigo?
partner.
That's your
Yeah, that's
partner. Right
yep.
on. There you go.
He
I can
does
tell you guys, even though you guys have masks on, I can tell you're smiling.
Oh.
And then there's some other community garden. Are these other volunteers or
Yeah, so that particular guy, his name is Sugar Ray
Sugar
Marston.
Ray? Nice.
Yeah. And he's a resident of Queensbridge and really active in kind of helping to orchestrate these mutual aid events that take place there. So he had this vision for a community garden, and I'm like an aggressive project manager by trade. So he had a vision, and then I did the petitioning and fundraising and harassment basically to get it done. And so that was really like a team effort from us.
But your skills are so valuable in this. I mean, you're in community projects. Every community project would benefit immensely from a Lauren Ashcraft, because you know
Yeah,
how to manage.
well,
You know how to manage projects. It's as simple as that. And
yeah,
now,
well,
so how's the community garden going? I know it's winter out where I know they do that up in New York. So
yeah.
is there like what's going on right now?
Yeah, they're winterizing it with compost. They're having children's programming. They had a Halloween event there with masks and everything. So it's really like a space that the community has taken over and is really proud of. And I think it warms my heart. Somebody parked there, and somebody who wasn't me. It used to be me that put like really mean, scary letters on people's cars. But somebody did it. It wasn't me, but somebody else is telling people to move or be towed. So I'm really proud.
It's
I feel like
parking in New York. I get it. It's still New York. It's still New York. We're still parking in New York.
yeah, we have I nailed these no parking signs to like all the trees around it. But people are really passionate about like cleaning up the litter. And I think also like the children's programming coming up, we're going to teach them about why it's important to make sure that we don't allow plastic in our earth. So like teaching kids about the importance of keeping like the earth healthy. And I think we have, I mean, it's a starting point for some really cool stuff, and it's just beginning. So I'll be excited. I no longer like have ownership over where it goes, but now as like a person who lives down the street from it, I'm really excited like as a community member to see where it goes.
But and those things are, and and I try to highlight this stuff a lot on the show because I try not to just focus on electoralism all the time, because first of all it can get very frustrating and very unencouraging. But when you look at mutual aid efforts and you look at activist projects and you look at community gardens, I live in the San Pedro area now. That's where I live here in LA now. And one of the first things we did when we were done moving in was my wife and I went to our farmers market like we do. And I was pretty excited, Lauren, because San Pedro is Little Italy in Los
Nice.
Angeles, which that fits me pretty okay. And but they actually speak it at the farmers market, which I was not expecting. It was a pleasant surprise.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get a good like 2 minutes a week in practice now.
That's
Because I
amazing.
get to speak it at the farmers market with whoever, there's a couple produce stands, they speak Italian, so I get to speak Italian some.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
and then I'll learn a lot of vegetables because I forgot how to say carrots. So I asked the person, I was like, come si dice carrots. It's caroto, so very complicated. But but I didn't remember.
That's
um
awesome.
but the reason I bring that up is after there's a community garden right in the heart of Pedro, and we went and they showed us around and they gave us their guidelines for their compost, and it was just so cool. They harvested a little celery for us. They
Yay.
gave me a salary, Lauren, for doing nothing. They're like, we're a community garden, but we're gonna give you 50 grand a month for doing nothing.
Awesome.
No, they harvested a little bit of celery for us just because we remarked that it looked really good and it was coming in great. I gave her a couple bucks. She didn't ask for it, but I was like, no, for the cause, like take a few dollars and thank you for the celery. And we figured out a place where we're going to do our compost now. I mean, that stuff
Yeah.
is so important. Now, the only thing that they stipulated, and I already found a place. I have to separate my compost now because the local garden near me, they don't accept citrus because it breaks down too slowly for them. They can't handle
Oh.
citrus. But another buddy of mine who does his own composting, he does he does do citrus. So I separate my citrus for him. And he's out in Long Beach, which is a little further, but yeah, I do my citrus for him, and then I do the rest for this community garden where I live in San Pedro.
That's awesome. Good
So
for
I have
you.
2 bags now,
Yay.
but it's essential. I mean, but without people like you making this stuff possible, like that's not something I'd be able to do, or I mean, so it's so essential, and I know that it's hard not to lose sight of the fact that, well, if we don't do something about the 70 biggest polluters in the world, we're really screwed no matter what. And, that truth doesn't go away.
Mhm.
But there's also a solid truth in the fact that, yeah, but you know what? If you're doing everything you can in your backyard, that matters a lot too. Recycling matters.
Yeah.
Composting matters. Community gardens, they matter. They matter too. And that's something that you can really do a lot about directly. So that's important too.
Yeah, thank you. And I think like that's what's so cool about having like children's programming coming up too is like we can do all we can as like a generation that's like kind of taken over right now. But then we know in the future, whenever they're leaders someday, they're going to remember like how scary it is that, our earth is on the verge of, you know, not being able to come back.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll carry these lessons to, along with them whenever they're legislating someday.
Do you grow anything at your place?
Poorly. I have like, okay, I'll show you one. We have these little ivy, or I don't even know what this is, but my partner's dad gave him this huge plant. It's like taking over part of our wall over there. And I'll like clip off pieces and get like roots. So we just have like 6 of these plants that I've like clipped off and created like a new plant from. I kill everything else. I don't know why I can't kill this one, so I'm really happy about it. But recently, speaking of like compost and like using vegetables and farmers markets and stuff, we actually get imperfect foods. This is not an advertisement. Get whatever you want. But I get my box of vegetables every week and I really hate wasting. So
Yeah.
one of the things I do is like if there's like a pepper that's going kind of weird or I can't use something in time, then or like whenever I'm cutting vegetables, I'll like keep the tops of peppers and like some onion skin and stuff. And I've started making vegetable broth from it. And I feel like I'm getting like
Awesome.
some more use out of it. And I just made a soup for the first time with that vegetable broth that I made, and it was the most delicious soup that I've ever had.
There you
So
go.
I love the idea of like, I didn't know how to do that. I watched a TikTok on how to do it. But the more that we talk about it and educate each other, as silly as it is that I learned that from TikTok, like maybe somebody's listening to this right now and is going to reuse their vegetables that they would have otherwise thrown out.
I used to be part of a crop share. I'm not part of a crop share anymore just because where I live now, it's actually a little harder to do because of how spread out everything is.
Mhm.
And also there are so many farmers markets in the Los Angeles area that it's just easier to just go and get the crops you want just directly from farmers. So, but when I lived in Nashville, I was part of a crop share with one of the local farms. And because like we'd have the Southern Bounty, we would have so much okra. And I never wanted to waste anything, of course, but I don't really care for okra. So, I mean, every year it was a project figuring out I found out that okra can actually be good in a smoothie. You don't want to put too much of it in because
Interesting.
I made a YouTube video about it where I just like did the experiment,
Wow.
and I'm like, because the texture of it, like it adds like a certain thickness that can be really satisfying in a smoothie. But if you do too
Interesting.
much of it, you're going to have like a very strong okra taste in your smoothie,
Okra
which if you're
smoothie.
yeah, and if you're going for like a fruit smoothie, that doesn't balance too well. But if you just use like one or two little, pieces of okra, it actually works very well. So I did a lot of I did a lot of maneuvering. I mean, okra and soups works pretty well. But I don't, and fried okra is not bad, but like okra overall, I'm not a huge okra guy. I don't hate it, but it's not my favorite thing. So yeah, I mean, I'm all about trying to be crafty with vegetables.
Yeah.
Someday in my life, I want a woof. Do you know what that is?
No.
So Woof, it's like it's a program where you can basically go. It's kind of like couch surfing in a way, except you stay at a farm and you help out. And
Oh my God.
that's how you pay your rent, so to speak. You help out on the farm. So you get to learn about farming and you get to see a place. I mean, you can go like, and it's kind of they match you up with people. So if you want to go, and you can do it all over the world, to my knowledge. And, so say I wanted to go to Montana for a while or something, wherever I can like have a relationship with a farm. I can help them out for however long they're willing to have me. And then after I'm done with my work each day, I can go, explore maybe I want to go skiing or whatever it is. So yeah,
Amazing.
I want to do it. I mean, I thought about like when I was really extensively doing the road comedy thing and was like clocking in like 45 weeks a year. I always thought like, I'm like, man, that'd be a healthier way to live if like during my off days, I just like went and worked on a farm and just kind of lived
Yeah.
my life, was eating off the land instead of having to like eat a gas station sandwich or whatever, because it's like you're on the road and you're pretty much broke, but I never did it, and I regret that. That was a mistake. I should have found more sustainable ways to live that life when I was doing it. But I still, I mean, I still, when the world is open, still hit the road, and so I at some point want to do that in
It
some
is not
capacity.
too late. You can just set aside a week and have like a farming vacation.
Yeah, well, my wife and I talked about it. Like, would we want to do it somewhere in the world and just like maybe stay at a farm and then really go see a place for a while and have that be, I mean, it is an economic way to do a vacation because you don't have any lodging costs, and
Yeah.
and your food costs are greatly diminished because you get to eat a good part of the bounty. I mean, it's still if it's
Yeah.
vacation, we're still going to want to explore some cuisine in the area and stuff. That's part of the experience, but yeah,
Oh my gosh.
I wanna woof it up. I don't know if they say woofers or what. I thought somebody had a hat on for that organization once. And granted, you keep in mind, I don't know a lot about it. I've just like done some Googling and I've been on their website once. So I don't know a ton about it, but it's something that intrigues me. But I saw someone that looked like they were in a hat for the organization. It turns out it was just like some clothing brand I hadn't heard of. So
Oh.
I was like, oh, do you do that? Do you like to farm? And they were like, what are you talking about? And I was like, okay, never mind. I failed.
Oh my gosh. I'm imagining like now knowing that you're interested in like your Italian roots, you could woof at a vineyard in Italy, and then you would just be living off of fermented grapes for for a week. I think that would be lovely.
When I was I went out to the Chianti region in college. Like I studied abroad in Italy one summer semester, and we went to the Chianti region where we just drank wine all day, and it's a bunch of college kids. And then like a bunch of goofball college kids, we decided we were going to play a big pickup soccer game after drinking wine all day. So it was like we played this like pickup, and I think about half of us. I don't remember which team won because really victory was measured by did you throw up or not. And half of everyone did. I didn't. I did not throw up, but
Good
but
work.
yeah, thank you. I'm still proud of that. I mean, all these years later, I'm like, I didn't puke at the soccer game, but
I think that's great. I hate puking. It's the worst feeling.
it is not fun. It is not
No.
fun. Lauren, where can people go to learn more about you?
On that note, follow me at Vote Ashcraft.
Perfect. And yeah, thank you so much for doing that community garden and everything you do.
Oh.
And I'm excited to see what you got next on the horizon. I think it's going to be awesome, whatever you decide.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our